Tonight, somewhere on this planet, someone is on their knees. Not because they were told to, not because their religion requires it, not because anyone is watching. They are on their knees, in the dark, speaking quietly to something they cannot see, cannot prove exists, and cannot fully explain. And they feel, with complete certainty, that something is listening. This happens in every country, every culture, every language, every era of recorded history. And it happened long before any of those things existed. The oldest evidence of ritual behavior in humans predates every religion ever named by tens of thousands of years. Before Moses, before Muhammad, before Buddha, before any priest ever stood before any congregation, ancient humans were already doing something that looked unmistakably like prayer, performing deliberate, repeated, structured communication with something invisible. And the question that should stop you completely is this. Why?
Not why do people pray. Why did it start? What was happening in the human brain at the specific moment when one of our ancestors first looked up at the sky or into the fire or into the darkness and began speaking to something that gave no visible response? What cognitive event made that behavior not just possible, but inevitable across every human culture that has ever existed? Because here is what the evidence shows. Prayer did not spread from one culture to another. It did not travel along trade routes or get carried by missionaries or get borrowed from neighboring tribes. It emerged independently, separately, in complete isolation from each other, in Africa, in Asia, in the Americas, in Europe, in the Pacific. Cultures with no knowledge of each other's existence arrived at the same behavior through completely different paths. When something appears independently in every human culture on Earth, evolution is trying to tell you something.
It starts with the same cognitive leap that gave us everything: theory of mind, the ability to understand that other beings have inner lives, intentions, and awareness separate from your own. This ability first evolved for survival, to read the intentions of predators, rivals, and allies, to ask constantly, what does that creature want, and what will it do next? But human brains do not apply theory of mind selectively. They apply it to everything, to animals, to weather, to rivers, to the sun, to death itself. The same neural machinery that allowed ancient humans to read each other's intentions began asking the same questions about every powerful, unpredictable force in their environment. What does the storm want? What does the disease want? What does the darkness want? And once your brain starts asking what something wants, it has already assigned that thing an inner life, an intention, a mind. And the logical next step, the step that every human brain took independently across every continent, was to attempt communication. You do not ignore a mind. You speak to it. You negotiate with it. You appeal to it.
You offer it something in return for mercy or favor. That is not superstition. That is the most sophisticated social intelligence ever developed, applied to the most terrifying forces in the ancient world. And here is what makes this genuinely extraordinary. It worked! Not because the storm heard, not because the darkness responded, but because the act of directed communication with an imagined powerful presence activated something specific in the human brain. It reduced cortisol, it lowered heart rate, it created a felt sense of being heard that the brain could not fully distinguish from actually being heard. The comfort was real. The neurological effect was measurable. The behavior that reduced fear and restored calm was naturally selected for. The humans who prayed survived the terror of the ancient world more effectively than the ones who faced it in silence.
Prayer did not begin as theology. It began as the most human thing imaginable, a mind so sophisticated it could not look at an incomprehensible universe without searching it for another mind looking back. We have been searching for 300,000 years, and we have never been able to stop.